Oh shit! I gotta play the intro.
You got all shy about big and Dill.
Evidently have been enslaved by robots. Dance for your dinner, monkeys.
Houston, we have a problem.
Crazy parents, crazy wife.
This way, listen to me!
But wait a minute, let me change my icon.
And guess what, fuckface?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bleh, bleh.
Dude, the Nell part of our intro makes me giggle every single time.
I'm just waiting for Jodie Foster to sue us because it's like the best part of our intro.
Yeah, she's
You know
gonna
how
sue us
awesome
for
that would be?
homophobia.
We would get so much
Yeah.
publicity from that.
So much publicity. You guys, sometimes during the week, I'll consider committing a crime so that this podcast can blow up.
You really should. I think you're a total
I know.
fucking martyr, and for the rest of us, we should just take a hit.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm
Not
not doing a very good job as being the producer, because I don't.
Well, technically there is a product, so.
Yeah.
And you do eat grapes for free at Trader Joe's, so you are a producer.
Yeah.
Because you fucking forage produce.
And you do host the call, so that's
Yeah.
something.
And you kind of look like Nathan Lane, and he was in The Producers on Broadway, so you pretty much are a producer.
And usually within 15 minutes after we start the podcast, you add some material to the script.
Guys, funny enough, Liz talked about taking one for the team. Not that I even wanted to talk about this, but it just makes total sense now in terms of segues. I started watching Orange is the New Black because there was so much publicity around Season 2 being available on Netflix. So I was like, let me watch Season 1. And I do like the show, but it made me terrified because they start showing montages of like the characters and how they got into jail in the first place. And you realize like the slightest fucking thing, and there's so many times like misunderstanding leads to you being imprisoned. And I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, I could totally see myself landing in jail for something I didn't commit, but I couldn't prove that I did it, you know?
That's
Kinda terrifying.
actually a really scary thing
Yeah,
to think about, is the fact that that could definitely happen.
yeah,
And it's that, that's kind of why people are so freaked out about the whole NSA thing.
yeah,
And because, for the most part, you don't have anything to hide. But if you really think about it, pretty much every one of us has something going on that's like actionable by law enforcement.
yeah.
But like they just choose not to or ignore it. And it's like basically hidden or whatever.
Yeah.
But if essentially reading all your communications is almost like reading your mind.
Yep.
And if someone for whatever reason just like has it in for you, you can always find something.
Yep. And it's just scary because like you just go around day by day just like thinking everything's fine, and then this shit could be building up without you even knowing it, and then all of a sudden the fucking feds are at your door. I'm a little bit paranoid, but I was thinking the other day, like I live next to a private neighborhood in the Bronx. So I live in Riverdale, but there's a neighborhood called Fieldson, which is like a gated community, and they have their own security system. But it's like the Beverly Hills of New York, and I go for walks there all the time because it's just fucking beautiful and no one is there. It's like I've never seen someone that lives in any of those houses. Everything is super secluded, and they have their own security team that like drives around in these like SUVs. And I'm always like walking around, like listening to music on my iPod, and like I'm not a jogger, so I'm literally just walking around, and I probably look fucking like I'm up to no good, who knows. But I always think like there's always these security vehicles that are every time I turn around, there's one parked behind me, or there's one turning the corner on the block that I'm on. And I'm like, I wonder if like something happens in this neighborhood, if they'll be like, well, there's that giant fat Chaz Bono looking bitch who stomps around here on the weekends. She's like our most likely culprit.
Listening to his black music.
Yeah. Like he's jamming to Celia Cruz as he scuttles through this neighborhood that he doesn't belong in.
Holding in poop. Obviously holding in poop.
Always holding in poop.
They
I'm
appears to
drinking
be
a
under
fucking
pressure.
iced espresso right now, so I'm going to be sharding all over this podcast.
I got pulled over like right in my neighborhood the other night. And my neighborhood's a really nice neighborhood. It's like really nice Brookline, lots of families. I kind of like know I'm like friendly with my neighbors, and they would know my car. They would know me to see me. So to get like, pulled over in my neighborhood was really embarrassing. And of course, I assumed yes, I'm doing something wrong. There's like I'm somehow drunk, even though I didn't even like drink any booze. This is the effect that police officers have on me. They make me feel like I'm immediately doing something wrong that I couldn't possibly have been doing wrong.
They know that. They take advantage
they know
of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so he pulls me over, and he's like, your brake lights aren't working. I was like, what do you mean my brake lights aren't working? I feel like I should know this.
That's the least of my problems.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
You're
hammered.
like, whoa, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. There's a whole bunch of shit not working.
Yeah.
You're like, my eyes are closed. Those aren't working either.
I wasn't even behind the wheel when you pulled me over. I was getting shoes out of the bag.
You're like the car's not even on. You had torn a hole in the floor of your car and you were Fred Flintstoning home. You're like, I'll give this a jump start.
But he pulled me over and said that my brake lights weren't working, and so I freaked out about it, and then went to the mechanic across the street. And of course, this is how I decided to go test my brake lights. I couldn't do it in my own driveway. I had to procrastinate it for 13 hours and to take it to the mechanic. But anyway, what we determined is that the brake lights were working, and that cop pulled me over for no reason.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
I know.
You got profiled.
Yeah, I got totally profiled. Maybe it's because I drive backwards up the middle of the street when I realize I've forgotten to get my coffee.
This chick is hood as fuck and does not fly in this neighborhood.
Totally.
You know what, though? In all honesty, whenever I'm on the road and there's a cop nearby me, I'm always like, what am I going to do wrong? Because, like,
I start to, like, flail wildly and drive way worse than I would have if the cop had never been there.
Because none of us fucking drive the way you should. Like, I wouldn't pass a road test today if I took one, you know? So I'm always like, fuck, what am I going to do? Like, and then you try to be, like, super buttoned up. You're like, I'm going to put my fucking blinker on. But then you wind up putting your hazards and your windshield wipers on. And then your car explodes. And you're like, that wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't even know there was an explosion button on my dash.
Yeah,
And
I put my blinker on, but I don't look into the lane that I'm turning into because I'm scared to turn my head. Like, my blinker's on.
You put your blinker on, but then you're driving on the wrong side of the road because you forgot you had one.
Exactly. I'm like, but the cop was there, so I put my blinker on.
I think it proves the old adage that you never act weirder than when you're trying to act normal.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Never
But no,
act
I
more
don't
awkward.
see you having those problems. Like, I truly believe, and not just because I think you're like a fucking Chuck Norris type person, but like, I think if you had to fly like a helicopter, I would get in the helicopter with you. Like, I know you'd never turn one of these on, but I trust you enough to do it. Like, I feel like you can do anything.
I
That's
have
really sweet of you
addendum
to
to
say.
that. I also agree with that, but only if there was nobody else more qualified. Like, if
Oh,
there
yeah.
was, like, you know, if there was like an actual helicopter pilot, I'd rather have him do it. But if it was like between
so
you
would
and
I.
Byron,
I
yeah.
would not seize
Oh.
the controls of an actual helicopter pilot having never operated a helicopter before and be like, no, I got this. You don't
But
know.
I do believe that there are people in this world that if you did do that, if you were to seize control, they'd trust you to fly the helicopter. And I've known you since a child, which is the only reason I don't necessarily trust you in a way. But
And Liz, I'm not offended that you would choose him over me. Like, I wouldn't trust myself on a fucking tandem bike. Like, you would just definitely leave me to be eaten by zombies. Like, I'm just dead weight. I would not help in any situation.
no, we would definitely bring you along.
I will put it this way. As between myself and anyone else who's completely unqualified to fly a helicopter and has no idea what they're doing,
Yes.
I would pick myself.
Exactly.
I would endeavor not to pick anybody who doesn't know how to fly a helicopter to fly a helicopter.
Right.
Yeah.
I would also maybe pick you over like a novice Asian helicopter pilot.
Oh.
Yeah,
Good
that's
call.
or like a novice, like maybe a female helicopter pilot.
Who can't see over the steering stick?
Exactly.
Doesn't check the blind spot.
Yeah.
Drives 35 in a 60.
Yep. Or 120 in a 10.
Well, I think Amy would disagree with you. Her and I have a constant battle going about who's a better driver.
Well, Amy is an extraordinary human being. She like
very-
defies all
She's quite
stereotypes.
insistent that she's a better driver.
I'm gonna just venture to bet that it's gonna be your unborn child who probably drives better than you guys because that kid's getting some fucking insane genes. And I'm not talking about the Express 1997 genes that Liz is bestowing upon her as the next in line of Hall women, but
They're in the mail in every color.
Size 99 Express acid wash jeans.
Insane jeans. Yeah.
high-waisted, flared bottom carpenter jeans.
I got her a pair with butt pads in them because babies' butts always look so gross because of diapers. So I got her a pair that has a special fabric that'll make her butt look good.
I have a question. When are the high-waisted hipster jeans going to go out of style?
I'm wearing them right now, so I'm hoping not for another week.
Is that over yet? See, I feel like there's some fashions that that many people have the experience of looking at pictures of themselves from yesteryear and saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I wore that." And shit like high-waisted hipster jeans or whatever, that's going to happen. You know that in 15 years you're going to look back at pictures of yourself and go, "Oh, I can't believe I wore that." Oh God. And yet,
I actually feel nothing of I am really proud of my wardrobe throughout my entire life.
Liz, fucking recant that statement right now. The night that I met Liz, it was dead of winter, and she was wearing, I shit you not, she was wearing linen bell-bottom pants.
I still have those, and I still wear them.
And I was like, are you warm enough in those? And she's like, they're fine. And then I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, I was like, yeah, but they're long, so they drag on the street. They're gonna get dirty. And she's like, no, it's fine. And then she lifted up her pants, and she had used duct tape to hem the pants.
Hillbilly haberdashery.
Yeah. So if you don't regret those, then
I don't regret those. I still own them. They're in my closet. Hanging in my closet right now. A fad I would like to see come back is button-down shirts over turtlenecks. That was a fad I used to rock pretty hard.
Ooh.
Yes.
Or champion sweatshirts over turtlenecks?
Yeah. Basically anything over turtleneck. Turtlenecks over turtlenecks.
I had one champion sweatshirt, and I wore it every single day in a desperate bid to conform in 6th grade.
Yep, and I would steal a Gap bag from the Gap and carry my stuff around in a bag so that people would think that I shopped at the Gap.
My dad was and still is a big time gambler. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast before, but he would always get swag from casinos. And 5th grade, I had this one white sweatshirt that I fucking loved, and it said Claridge Casino Hotel on it. And I used to wear it. First of all, it was a white sweatshirt, so it got dirty very quickly. Yeah. I would always wear it. And if you look at any of my pictures from 5th grade, it's always me with this fucking giant-ass sweatshirt that says Claridge Casino Hotel. All I was missing was an oxygen tank and my fucking, Brascal scooter and slot machines, because I just look like I fucking fit in,
There is a family picture of us, and everyone is dressed up in their holiday picture finest. It's our holiday picture of all the little cousins, and there's 7 of us, and everyone looks super normal. And I am wearing a lavender satin button-down shirt with an attached pearl necklace.
It came with the shirt.
Flossing, yes, I'm flossing so hard for this family picture.
Wait, what about
I'm 7 years old?
What about the one where you're wearing the multifarious fluorescent jacket and the pork pie hat in New York?
That's just the hottest shit ever. When we were in Times Square, and I thought I was rocking that layaway jacket so hard. Jacket on layaway.
Remember when you used to put shit on layaway at Marshall's?
Yes.
That
was my layaway puffy jacket. It was
that was really exciting because it was you pick something out, but you can't have it now. You would get it in 4 months.
And it was like Christmas all year round, but you knew what you were
up to layaway.
Yeah.
You guys should have just been in my family. My aunt Diana, she was notorious for going to Marshalls and TJ Maxx and swapping tags. So she would take something from a $9.99 T-shirt and put it on a jacket that was $79.99 and get away with it every fucking time.
Dude, that's gangster.
Yeah, you guys should. We'll just do that. We're gonna take this show on the road. We're gonna go to the Marshalls on Boylston, and we're gonna be fucking podcasting live from there as we switch tags.
You guys, one thing I was thinking that we could maybe do to get notoriety is recreate the bling ring.
Yes.
and we can start going in and robbing area celebrities. But we should do it really in like the suburbs and like not famous people just like walk into houses and be like, look at this Bose speaker system.
Take a lot of photos of their like super normal living room. Like, look at this.
Exactly. You're like, check us out in here. I can afford this too.
They have a soda stream.
Yeah.
You know, as segues go, this was perfect because I wanted to talk about a celebrity having their house broken into. Did you guys hear Sandra Bullock was home a week ago and some guy broke into her house while she was there, and he didn't cause any harm, but like they're investigating it more and more. The guy had like a fucking full artillery of like all these fucking weapons. And
Wow.
you're thinking to yourself, you're like, you're Sandra Bullock, you should have insane security around your house. Like if I was a celebrity, I'd have a bodyguard with me at all times, you know? Because you know people just love touching me. And
Yeah, I
to
mean,
think that like you're Sandra Bullock and you have this multi-million-dollar house, and the guy not only gets through your neighborhood or like through the gate around your house, but he has a fucking van of like sawed-off shotguns and missiles, and he's trying to.
What
fucking
is he
break
trying to
it
do
down.
to Sandra Bullock? She is a national treasure.
She is. I'm so
Why would
mad.
anybody want to hurt her? I
No
love
clue.
her.
I was really impressed with The Heat. It was a good movie.
It's
Yeah.
such a good movie.
I never saw it. I want to watch it right after this podcast.
Watch it.
Why didn't you pick The Heat instead of Fishing as your pick of the week last week?
Okay, first of all,
That was
Fishing's
the
awesome.
best improv I've ever seen in my life.
Look,
Liz
I
was still
love my
talking about it
fishbowl.
hours later.
Yeah.
Uh,
I tweeted it out like 3 hours later because I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was
Yeah,
the
that's
funniest
good.
thing that happened the whole week.
what can I say? I'm a show business whiz.
It was just like the agility of your mind was it's really impressive to watch.
I woke up like
All I'm
this.
saying.
I woke up like,
Yep.
you know what's funny though? The Heat
Actually-
is-
Go ahead, Byron.
No, you go. I was just gonna talk about The Heat, but you go.
So I was walking down the street the other day, and I saw this like kind of out of shape, like disheveled looking woman wearing a chartreuse tank top that said, "I woke up like this." I was like, "Your point?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And you didn't do
obviously.
anything about it?
Yeah. I'm surprised that Mackie doesn't say in a pile of my own vomit.
Dude, really? You ever had a moment where you almost forget not to do something? Like,
Yeah.
I had steered towards her and like begun to open my mouth to say like, "Are you fucking serious with that tank top?" And I realized I didn't know this
Like,
woman,
oh,
and that's a fucked up thing to say.
I really can't say anything. I really can't say anything. Yeah, I saw a guy on the train last night, super homeless and drunk, and his T-shirt said, "Sarcasm is nature's defense against stupidity." I was like, "What?"
Yep.
You know what it is? I'm guilty of that shit because back in like the early 2000s, I used to always buy those stupid T-shirts from like Urban Outfitters that had.
Oh my God, me too. That's
I
how
mean-
I express myself. It still is.
Yeah, and I was always like, you know, you can wear them if they're not fucking true. Like here I am, this fucking fat ass bitch with spiky hair, and I'm wearing a T-shirt that says "Tastes like chicken," and I'm like, oh, I'm so cool. And then like when people would giggle on the fucking subway, I'm like, it's because this shirt doesn't fit,
Yeah.
and it's about food. Like they're not laughing with me; they're laughing at me. You know?
I
thought it was
remember your,
stupid.
I'm not fat, I'm fluffy T-shirt. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, it was a picture. It was a drawing of a sheep. It said you EWE. You's not fat. You's
Yeah.
fluffy. And I was fucking 26 years old. Liz, I remember the day that I wore that. I had bought it at Urban Outfitters the day before. It was like Cinco de Mayo,
Right.
and you were studying for the GMATs.
Wait,
and we
what's a
convinced you.
skit?
We convinced you not to go to take the GMAT. We went
So
to
that I
Caliente
could go drink
Cat instead.
margaritas.
Yeah. And then I'm wearing that T-shirt. It didn't fit, and because it was Cinco de Mayo, we were leaving work at like noon 30. We
And also we
into
were
the-
moving offices.
Yeah, and we went into
So we
the
were
kitchen,
drinking in the office.
and do you remember what we drank?
We're confusing two different parties because there was one holiday party where we took shots of rum.
No.
Oh yeah, this is the where we drank the skunked beer. Yeah.
Yeah, we opened up Coronas and we chugged them, and we were just trying to drink them so fast we didn't realize they were skunk. until Liz and I were walking out, and I burped, and she was like, "Holy fuck!" It just smelled like fucking skunk ass.
This is startup culture, folks. If you want
Wait
to
a
get
minute. So there were salaries for everyone at this company, and like money flying all. Why can't we start a fucking fake company where nobody does anything and we don't produce shit and there's tons of money?
That is what I am talking about. All we need is an LLC, and we are like a bona fide startup company.
All right. Shit.
We'll just call it Coming In Sideways and be like, wait, this is aspirational. You should join up and do all these things. Give us $15 a month, and it'll be worth it.
Not for
Right.
nothing, though.
That's it.
I mean, we
Hashtag revolutionary. Hashtag disruptive.
Yeah.
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 Hashtag 100K jobs.
Exactly.
Psych 25K jobs.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? I only
No
wish,
job. Site repost.
Yeah.
I only wish.
Psych. Drug people harvesting these jobs. Psych.
Did we ever talk about what Jen Savage did as she was harvesting jobs at that company?
No.
You may have heard the story, Liz, you lived it, but we used to have to go to job boards and like pull their jobs and post them on our site so that people would apply and it looked like we were actually doing something. And we would just like fuck around all day on like GChat and all this shit. So
Just it's like a quick aside to that, we would go onto other jobs and steal the jobs on their website, and our rationale for why this was okay was they don't say that we can't.
yeah.
They
And
have their website to preclude us from stealing jobs from off of here. So
and the best part is
this is the premise under which I operated for 3 years.
And the best part is, we as 22-year-olds making $30,000 a year, we're expected to guess that these jobs paid $100,000 or more.
For the
So
folks
we were
that-
never right. We were
For the folks-
never right.
For the folks at home, these two worked at an internet startup company, which we shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
The purpose of which was to provide job listings to their subscribers. It was a dubious business plan, but somehow they got tons of money and paid tons of money and had huge, big, weird parties. Hired a bunch of like early 20-somethings who had 7 margaritas at lunch and then spent the rest of the day ordering bedazzled chartreuse embroidered Nikes off the internet.
Listen,
Yeah.
we drank fucking hard. We didn't drink margaritas. We were drinking fucking on the rock shit 24/7. But the best thing is, and anyway, anyone listening to this and work there with us, it's Jen Savage, Maria Marasco. Those are the only people who listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Exactly.
Scott Barker actually listens to it too. He messaged me. He said he loves it. The other thing is, when we at the end of the day, we would check each other's work, right, to see if like, oh, you're an idiot. You posted this job. It's obviously 40K. It's like, listen, your guess is as good as mine. But
And by that time, when we were editing each other's work, we were blackout drunk, so it was really fun.
I'm gonna admit now that I never checked anyone's work. I just said I did. But the thing is, someone checked Jen Savage's work, and they clicked on a link to jobs she posted, and it linked to Target.com to a pair of rain boots. What is this? Oh, I was shopping while I was working.
Just no checks and balances that place.
No. People used
not
to write
fair.
in.
It's
People
not
used to
fair.
write in all the time and be like, I went on this interview, and after like meeting with 3 executives, I found out the job pays $17,000. We're like, oops. And our canned response was like, well, the egg is on our face. Here's an extra month.
Yeah. Dude, we were so lucky to get that job. How did that even happen?
Like, we met the best people. Like, I actually posted about this on Facebook the other day because Maria, who was my boss at this company, she found out that I'm like, she listens to the podcast and she knows that I'm pursuing like a career in entertainment. And her brother wrote a book, which is just like advice to actors. It's kind of like, it reminds me, I haven't read it yet because she just sent it to me, but it reminds me of the book like Letters to a Young Poet. This is like advice to an actor because her brother is like a, experienced in this. And so she sent the book to me with like a note of encouragement that was like, I'm so happy you're pursuing your dreams. And actually, about 1.5 years ago, I told her, because she came from Sirius Radio. She said, I told her, I was like, I want to really get into radio. And she's like, well, no one's going to know what you're capable of unless you do like a podcast. And obviously I sat on that for fucking ever until we realized all together that we should do a podcast. But yeah, she's been awesome. And so like I posted about it on Facebook, and a lot of people that work with us at that company came out of the woodworks, and they're like, yeah, you know, like we did have a good bunch of people there. Like the company fucking sucked. But I mean, a bunch of us are still best friends. Like our actual direct managers there were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a great experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I developed a brand of identity-linked alcoholism from which I may never recover, but that may have already been in me.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
And
Our
you
whole
were part
family's
of the family.
alcoholics.
Yeah. God bless us, everyone.
Speaking of jobs that got fucked up, this is the last story I want to talk about. But I was reading in the news this morning. You know, like sometimes you do something at work and you're like, holy shit, like I really fucked up and I'm gonna lose my job. I mean, I always think like that. Like the second my manager wants to meet, I'm like, what did I do? Even if I didn't do anything. It's similar to what we were saying about driving alongside of cops. There was a guy. This company built this house in Rhode Island. Did you guys hear about this? So it's $1.8 million, and the developer built it. They started building in 2009, and it was completed. It's in Point Judith, Rhode Island. And in 2011, the house was finished. And you know, like some people, when they are looking to buy a house, they'll do a survey of the house and make sure that everything is compliant with regulations or whatever. So a prospective buyer's independent survey showed that the house was built on land that belonged to a public park. So now the people who built the house can't do anything with it. Their only options are to physically move the house off of that land or destroy it. Like, that is a big fucking mistake. You know what I mean? And that's totally something.
What?
Yeah. Can you imagine being the person who's responsible for, like, choosing where the house is built? And then you're not building, like, a fucking random house. It's a mega mansion. It's $1.8 million in Rhode Island.
Well, $1.8 million is not a mega mansion. Amy and I have been looking at houses recently, like in my neighborhood, which is like not super fancy, and like most of them are over $1 million.
Yeah, but you're so close to the city. I mean, Rhode Island is there's a lot of land there.
That's fucking nuts. Did you see the video of the house in Texas that was built like overlooking a cliff that was like into a lake, and the cliff started collapsing, and the house started falling over the cliff, and they couldn't think of what to do about the house because it would be really expensive to clean it up if it fell in the lake. They couldn't like take it apart and take it away in time, so they set it on fire.
Oh, all right.
So it's like this flaming house, like hanging out the edge of this crumbling cliff and like falling into a lake.
Wow, let's set it on fire. I bet a man made that decision.
Yeah, that's exactly that would have been the first thing I said.
Of course, well, set it on fire.
They're like, well, can we take our shit out first? Nope, everything's gotta stay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I actually heard a rumor that the original plan was, let's send a bunch of school children in there to offset the balance and keep it from falling.
I like that.
And then they were like, fuck, it's not working. Okay, set it on fire. And then they're like, great.
Great, good deal.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's actually at the bottom of the article I was reading as an additional, and it's fucking terrifying because the house just looks like a really angry person on fire, and it's like shit is just falling into the lake.
You'd be angry if you were on fire and falling into a lake too.
Yeah, people didn't really try that hard to figure out another way to save you. Like, what if you were hanging off a cliff and your friends were like, I don't think we can save her, so let's just light her on fire.
Listen, burning and falling into a lake has been every one of my summers. I fucking don't in. I just like get third-degree burns every time I go to the beach, and I just fall in the water. So it's pretty much the story of my life. Guys,
speaking of fire, why don't we talk about the Amazon Fire smartphone? I just stole your segment.
I was never going to do that. It's so good. I'm so proud of you.
But let's talk about it. I mean, let's have Oak talk about it because I don't know what's happening. I know it's an Amazon, I know it's a phone, and I know it's called Fire. Go.
All right. So yesterday, Amazon launched their entry into the smartphone market called the Fire phone. It's big Well, it's based on the same operating system as like the Kindle Fire tablet, if you're familiar with that, which is like a variant on Android, but with a lot of like proprietary Amazon stuff. So now they have a phone. It has some interesting features, including 4 front-facing cameras that are used for head tracking. So we can provide like a 3D visualization on the screen based on like where your head is oriented relative to the screen.
What?
And also you can control things based on your head orientation and based on the orientation of the phone. So one of the nice features that I saw was that you can scroll things on the screen based on like the angle at which you hold the phone.
What?
Yeah,
That's
it's cool. Yeah, and you can open menus by sort of flicking your wrist and holding the phone, which is nice. And also, apparently, there's some games. And they released a software development kit that allows you to take advantage of some of the stuff. So I was actually just before we got on, I was signing up as an Amazon developer to see what
cool.
it's about. So I'll see if I have some project time. I will try to maybe put together a little Hello World or Angry Birds or something for not Angry Birds, Flappy Bird. But what else? So it also has this feature called Firefly, which it looks to me like it basically just lets you take a picture of something and then it can show you what in the picture you can buy on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
Like it detects like phone numbers and email addresses and stuff. So like if you walk by a poster, take a picture of it, it'll bring up the any phone numbers that are in the picture, any email addresses, and I'm sure it will prompt you to buy something.
Interesting.
Which they are.
It'll be interesting to see how that works because I had worked with a company at my last job where they were demoing this product and it was like for a TV product and supposedly like you would have it running while you were watching TV, so it would pick up sound bites from what you're hearing on the TV and then give you related content. And they were running a demo of it, and we were watching an episode of The Office, I think, and we had it running in the background, and it was pulling the most random shit. So like, it was obviously not working, and it was spinning out of control, and I was cracking up, but like the people who had developed it were like, "This is not how it usually works. Trust us." But it was like pulling stuff. It would hear like the word gold, right? And I'll never forget because they said the word gold, and then the thing that came up on the screen was a link on Amazon to buy Gold Bond baby powder. And I was like, this is definitely not like related at all. But it would be really funny, like, because you know people fuck with Siri on the iPhone. Like, this would be super funny, like if there were fucking glitches. And you can imagine like what it's gonna link you to.
Well, so speaking of Siri, one of the knocks on the Amazon phone is that it doesn't make use of anything, any of Google stuff. So there's no Google Maps app, for example. And so you have to use Amazon's app, which I'm not familiar with Amazon's map app. Maybe it's better than Apple Maps, but Apple Maps fucking is terrible.
Right.
And it's Google Maps seems to be far and away the best map service. So
it would make sense to use it.
Well, they can't. So in order to make use of a lot of Google stuff, you have to sort of buy into the Googleverse. Like you have to like make the Google Play App Store available, which Amazon doesn't do. You have to go through Amazon's App Store, which makes sense for them, but also doesn't give you access to Android stuff from the Google Play Store.
Right.
So I mean, I guess the jury's still out on how Amazon Maps will be. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
But we'll see about that. The other big knock, at least for me, is that one, the phone is exclusive to AT&T, which I'm not going to switch carriers again. At least not immediately. And two, it's really expensive. It's $650, but it's like $200 with a 2-year contract. Just as a juxtaposition, I paid like $190 for my phone. It's a Nexus 4, and I pay like $35 a month for no contract on T-Mobile. Like, not 35, it's 70 or something. But anyway, whatever it is, it's a lot less than a subsidized phone contract that you might get from like Verizon. So personally, I've been really happy with that model. I don't want to be in a contract, and I don't want to pay $700 for a phone, and I don't feel like I have to. But we'll see. This is just the first iteration of this phone, so we'll see what they do going forward. But I don't know. It looks cool. It's exciting. Bean, any thoughts? You gonna get one?
Liz, are you using a sawzall over there? I hear like that.
Yeah, sorry. There's construction going on outside my
your
house.
house
Try
falling off a
sleeping
cliff?
through it. No, yes, and so I have to go light it on fire pretty soon. But we still.
I bet
have
the
to-
baby likes slipping through it.
She loves it. I actually don't think it affects her yet. She's like still so young that her like brain doesn't really wake up when it's sleeping. It just like goes through its natural cycles.
Right.
But
She's
mine
just-
does.
The baby's actually just waiting for the next World Cup game. She's just like,
Yeah.
fuck this.
Yeah,
Whoa.
exactly. Yeah. Good
Byram,
segue.
king of the segue.
Yeah.
Byram, have you been following sports ball?
No way. Everyone in my fucking office shows up with like jerseys and they watch
Right.
the games, and I'm just like, fuck you, I'm eating Sour Patch Kids.
But they're all hitting home runs and field goals and
Yeah. Like,
kicking the puck through the uprights.
Yeah.
yeah, like what the fuck? Everyone is all of a sudden a fucking sports fan, and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna keep shit real. I'm gonna just fucking watch some fucking YouTube videos with black women in them.
I literally have not watched 1 minute of One World. Actually, maybe I did. I think I watched one for like 1 minute. But how are the vooovazelas this year? Oh, every time World Cup season comes around, I think of you because I know how much you love vooovazelas.
Fucking piece of shit.
Are they called vooovazelas?
Whatever.
Voovazelalas?
Voovazelalas? No, you know what's funny? I think
Voovapaloozas?
it's just something native to South Africa, because when I was in South Africa last month, they had like fucking voovazela's like statues of them. I think that was big in 2010. I don't know if it's something that's like associated with the World Cup, but I think
I
it's
haven't
just-
heard any of them in Brazil.
Oh, good. I thought it was just a fucking soccer instrument, and I was like, I'm never going to watch soccer again. Because that is disgusting.
The big storylines are the U.S. Beat Ghana, which was very exciting.
Nice job, America. It's all Ghana has.
Yeah.
But they've eliminated us from the last 2 World Cups, so
Never again.
Never
Let's
again.
smash them.
so we droned the shit out of them.
again, Ghana.
Yeah. So we droned their starting lineup, and they sent children to play in their
Right.
city, and then we droned
Yeah.
them, and then celebrated victory.
We drafted their entire male population to play in the NFL, and
Right.
all that was left is the weak and the young.
Right. So, and then the other ones are the defending champion Spain has, I think, effectively been eliminated. They have been eliminated because they have lost 2 games, and so that entire country of Spain is in turmoil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
but
course. Their entire economy is going to collapse now.
Yeah. Well, they have fucking free healthcare and siestas, so I really think they came out on top on this one.
Yeah.
Yes, but free healthcare, like you have to pay for that actually.
Yeah, somebody's paying for it.
In
It's not
Spain?
actually free.
In Spain, I think it is.
Somebody
You
has
get,
to
like-
pay the
Yes.
doctors, or you just have really
Right.
bad
They
doctors.
don't just like produce healthcare from space, like it doesn't.
Well, in Spain, you have like fucking even your unemployment benefits. You have like 2 years of unemployment.
But that
Right,
money
but-
comes from somewhere.
Right. How do you pay for that?
Right.
I'm just saying. I heard it's a good place to live. All right.
It's a good place to live, except that like 70% of your check goes to taxes.
Really?
Yeah. How do you think people, like, when you go to the doctor and, like, somebody treats you, that costs money. Somebody has to pay for that medical treatment. And it's not like the president doesn't, like, pay for it out of his pocket.
I mean,
Somebody has to
granted,
pay for it.
they don't have like the like bizarre ecosystem of a like healthcare system that we have that
Right.
allows people to like exploit extra money out of the system.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, yeah, it's in Europe you pay like really high taxes and you get a lot of public services. It's
Huh.
socialist. I mean, socialist is maybe not the right word for it, but
It's
more
pretty
on
socialist.
it's on the spectrum of socialism.
Yeah, it's pretty socialist.
Guys, speaking of healthcare, I don't know if you've been following this in the news, but Dr. Oz is getting a lot of shit because he's basically not standing trial, but he had to face this panel that criticized him for like giving healthcare advice that's not like FDA approved. And he was
Ooh.
like, yeah, and he was like, listen, he's like, sometimes I talk about products that I've let my family try that is harmless, that hasn't been proven to, help with what it states it's supposed to. But he's like, I'm not telling people, hey, go out and try this like as a sponsored content. He's like, there's certain products out there that I truly believe like have the potential, and I'll say like, listen, it's not guaranteed to produce results, but like my family uses it, and it made me think like there's so much shit like every week you hear about like a new fucking drug that comes out, and you're just like, oh cool, this is gonna help me grow out my eyebrows, which is important for me because I'm Whoopi Goldberg and I have like no fucking eyebrows. But then you hear like the side effects, and it's like may cause like mental retardation, may
Right.
cause black eyelids, and you're just like, fuck, like why is
Right.
it so important to have eyebrows if I'm gonna have fucking an 11th ear,
Right. Like imagine being one of those women who got breast implants and then one of the breast implants like popped inside of her and like caused her to become really ugly.
Yeah.
You got these fucking breast implants and now they made you really, really ugly. Like that was
Well,
a terrible mistake.
A similar, I mean, on the subject of like you just can't know about a lot of this stuff. Like
Yeah.
Amy and I were having this conversation last night. I was mentioning that after I go to the gym, I make my protein out with whole milk, and Amy's like, "Stop drinking whole milk. Like it's got too much saturated fat. Like you're gonna have a heart attack. It's not good for you." And I said, "Bullshit. That's not true."
Yeah.
And so we started to have an argument, and we're like, okay, well, obviously, let's look it up. And it turns out that nobody knows that, like, there
Yeah.
was a study a while back that said saturated fat can lead to heart disease. But there was a more recent study that said that actually that there is no correlation between increased consumption of, like, natural saturated fat that's in, like, dairy products or meat and increased risk of heart disease. That like
Right.
the correlation is more of like some kind of partially hydrogenated something or other, like when you make like corn into saturated fat or something like that.
Yeah.
But that like but for example with skim milk, this one study said that there's no higher correlation in heart disease between people who drink skim milk or have higher fat animal fat diets than people with lower fat diets. And that actually that there were some other benefits to having more fat in your diet. And so Amy has one study, I have another study. They're both valid.
Yeah, and they completely contradict one another.
So what do? You know what I
Right.
mean?
What do you do?
I find it funny
Dude, I'm
because
wrong because I'm a man.
Yeah. Yeah, you put her back in her room and you say, bitch, you ain't coming out till you're ready to go into labor.
I drink milk when
Don't you
I'm-
talk about me no cholesterol?
Yeah, bitch, get back in the kitchen and make me some meat buddies. You know what's funny though? I find it funny that she's criticizing you for whole milk. Meanwhile, you're in the kitchen every weekend making meat buddies. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, can you make an extra meat mix for a meatloaf so I can make these little fucking flying saucers of meat
Right.
so I can
Yeah.
snack on
The
them?
last time I was there, he was trying to sell me this like thick chunk of salami. And
Oh, the
that was,
pork roll?
the pork roll that was like
yeah.
wrapped in ace bandage because it
Mhm.
to make it look as much as possible like human flesh.
It's like if you took a pig and you shot the pig with a machine gun full of hot dogs,
Yeah.
and then you took what came out on the other side and stuffed it into like a sausage casing. That's
Yeah.
pork roll.
That's pork roll. Yeah.
That is
It looks like the
delicious.
stuff that they hold people's burns together with.
Right.
The material that it's wrapped in.
Right.
Guys, I do. Since we came up with the topic on meat buddies, I do have to mention that friend of the pod, Maria Marasco, sent me a message the other day, and she goes, let me read it directly. She goes, Oakley should sue for patent infringement. They stole meat buddies. And she sent me a link to this website that promotes meat cupcakes.
Those bastards.
Yeah, so
Bastards!
they cook them in a muffin tin, and then they frost them with ketchup, and then mashed potato on top, and then they sprinkle them with bacon, and they look like cupcakes. And I'm really upset because
That's some artisanal shit. I think Oak is going for a little bit more of a deconstructed look there. I think it's just straight up meat and cupcake tin, no? Were you thinking about frosting them?
I was thinking about, we had extra meat, and and the pan drawer happened to be open, and I spotted the cupcake tin, and I thought, that would be fucked up if I did that. And so
I mean, you could even put Meat Buddies on spaghetti. I think you can diversify your product a lot more than potentially a meat cupcake. Like a Meat Buddy could be a lot of things.
True.
Well, ultimately, you'd want to have like a Meat Buddy video game and then like a cartoon show.
Exactly. And like T-shirts that they sell at Newbury Comics.
Yeah.
Breakfast cereal.
Yeah, breakfast cereal. And a mascot, the Meat Buddy.
And a fleshlight. We're going to try to fucking diversify our portfolio.
And then like a professional football stadium like named after the...
And a line of natural cosmetics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a line of Meat Buddy natural cosmetics. Yeah.
I definitely look some days in the summer like I applied my fucking makeup with a big sausage patty. So
Me too.
it's fucking brutal out there.
Absolutely.
Liz, you tweeted yesterday about like fucking people running in this weather.
Well, it's just, I realized after I sent that tweet out, it was a little bit, I hadn't even gone running yet, but it seemed like it was going to be kind of humid, so I wanted to immediately get mad about it. But anyway, it was really humid, and the pollen right now, guys, is like, I can't even handle it. There's like a 1/4-inch layer of pollen on absolutely everything.
We turned on the air conditioning for the first time last night.
I think
you waited till last night. I've had it on since like April.
We've been trying to gut it out, but it was 96 here yesterday. So.
Oh my god, and Amy's super pregnant. That must
She's
have been
super pregnant.
miserable.
And actually, it was me who folded first.
Oh, really?
Amy was like, fine.
Again,
well, knowing you two, you did like a fucking standoff. You probably had a competition, like standing in front of the air conditioner. Who's gonna break first and actually hit the power
button?
It
was, and it was me. Like, I broke first.
Naked and afraid every night.
My pregnant wife is tougher than I am.
I could see you both staring at each other with sweat mustaches, and you like quivering, like you don't want to break, but then she just like fucking like makes you flinch. She like psychs you out like she's gonna punch you, and then you just click it on, and then you both just collapse in fucking cool air.
Amy is bouncing on her Bosu ball, like just staring at me like, oh my God.
I mean, this weather, you need fucking air. I mean, like, literally, I'm afraid to leave my house or my office during the day because the second I walk outside, it just feels like I have a fucking underwear full of tuna salad. It is just, like, I don't even know what's in there. I'm like, why does it feel like this?
Yeah, it's like being inside a mouth. It's gross.
Yes.
Byram, can I share a secret wisdom of the ages with you?
Yeah.
For combating swamp ass? Cornstarch.
Gold Bond, Byram. That's why those ads were coming up when you were watching.
No, not Gold Bond. Not Gold Bond. Just straight up kitchen cornstarch.
Ew.
Dude, but I feel like it'll mix with my ass juices and make like fucking like
a paste. That's what I'm concerned about too.
Right. That's the thing. It's counterintuitive. You think that it's like a trick and it's gonna make glue, but it doesn't. It's like powdered silk, and it just like the moisture just disappears, and everything just. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
I think you should do a controlled experiment, Bizzle. I don't trust it.
Yeah, you know that's just not gonna work. It's gonna be like fucking Twinkie cream that's coming out.
No, it's not. It's gonna be Byram. I swear to God, I'm changing your life right now.
Wait, but I think that the subtle detail here that we're all missing is that Byram applies cocoa butter to himself liberally every morning.
Yes.
So that can complicate.
Look at my elbows. Everyone watching fucking YouTube. Look how ashy my elbows get. I actually look like I'm an amputee when I do this, right? It actually looks like a breast. It looks like a tit. Like, look at this tit growing out of my neck.
Byram, I'm telling you, man, you should do it outside or like in the shower because there'll be a big cloud of like the powder that like goes everywhere. But dude, just get it down up in the taint, like back in the ass crack, like just get all in there with like a big handful and just jam it up in there.
And while you're doing that, listen to the soundtrack from The Lion King. I think.
I'll fuck things up. I'll be like, I'll be at the supermarket. I'm like, I gotta pick up corn because Oak said to put this in my ass. And then like I'll fucking put a big corn in the cob up my ass, and then be like, what's going on?
break it off and then have to go to the emergency room and have it
And then
extracted.
it's really
I've never seen this one, Bird.
and it's really hot outside, and the friction from my ass cream, it'll be like fucking popcorn popping as I'm walking to work. I'm like, this was supposed to work.
This guy thought this corn would solve his swamp ass.
Automatically buttered popcorn.
Yeah, like it's so salty.
Nah, dude, cornstarch, man. I'm telling you, it'll change everything.
Pick of the week.
Nah, that's not my pick of the week. I got many picks of the week.
Oh wow! Look, you're so upset about getting caught unawares last week.
I know. I've been thinking about it all week. So
Yeah.
pick of the week number 1 is I've been doing a new workout called 5x5, and there's like a website called Strong Lifts where they have this workout program called 5x5, and basically it's 5 exercises that you do for 5 sets of 5 reps. And they have an app, which is really nice, which I've just been using the app at the gym, and you just do squats, deadlifts, bench press, bent over rows, and overhead presses. And that's it. And you just try to do heavier and heavier weight each week. It's been awesome, really digging it. So on iTunes or the Google Play Store, Strong Lifts 5x5. Really great app. They have good customer service. I complained about a bug, and they fixed it right away and emailed me and stuff. So that's my first pick. My second pick is the Watch ESPN app. I've been watching the World Cup soccer games, and the Watch ESPN app lets you watch any of the games that they have on their network on any of their channels, and you can broadcast it to Chromecast, which I have connected to my TV, and it just whatever you want right from your phone to your TV, and it's fucking sweet, especially for watching World Cup.
That's crazy.
Cool.
We should probably be responsible and put up a disclaimer that oak, as we've stated several times, is not your average human. So 5x5 is not for everybody. I certainly will not be trying it. I'm still going to use my Sweat into the Oldies app because that's more my speed for my body type. Liz was talking about women who had breast implants that exploded, and that's pretty much what my torso looks like. It looks like I have fucking breast implants that exploded and didn't do anything about it.
I mean, actually, the movements are super easy. Like they're not hard. It's just the difficulty comes from adding weight. I mean, you can do body weight squats or squats with an empty barbell, and you'll still get benefit. The real key is to do all the reps and sets. You end up doing 25 working reps of each exercise in addition to the warm-ups that they have you do.
Yeah.
So it ends up being a lot, but the key thing is that no matter where you start, you can start from 0, but each time you do the exercise, you add 5 pounds. That's a 2.5 pound little pink plate on either side. So it's just a tiny bit each exercise, and before you know it, you're doing a bunch of weight and you feel a lot stronger, and it's the kind of workout that changes your body composition. So I don't know. I would check it out.
What I need.
Dude, try it.
Can you do it? Can you I have free weights in my apartment. I don't belong to a gym because I paid for 8 years of a gym membership that I didn't use. So is there a way that you can just do this shit at home and not use any equipment? I have free weights.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I think you can start, but to advance to a certain point, you need a barbell. The real one piece of equipment that you need is a barbell.
So my hula hoop is not going to cut it.
It's not.
No, not for these particular purposes.
But you could find the most ghetto gym in the world, which is the one I go to, where the urinal is lying on the floor and there's cockroaches pouring out of the gaping hole in the wall where it used to be. And there's no air conditioning, and it's a disgusting fucking nut sweat sauna in the locker room. But who cares? They have a barbell, so I go there for 45 minutes for 3 days a week, and it's awesome.
I've become really obsessed with foam roller fitness, and I kind of want to film a foam roller fitness video.
You should. Actually, you should also teach me how to do that, because I could definitely work on my mobility somewhat.
Yeah, it's just like giving yourself an awesome massage every day after you exercise.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I always see the like serious like power lifter guys that do like all the Olympic workouts. They do like they'll do like a few lifts and then they'll just be like on the just doing foam rolling for.
And it's really hard to not make it not look porny. So I think that's my challenge. There, I'll just wear glasses while I'm doing it or something.
It's all about the music.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll have to be like really thoughtful about my musical choices when I film.
Yeah, you'll have to let Byron pick it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Something soulful.
Right. I watched a YouTube or a TED Talk last week that is my pick of the week. It's by a woman named Bran Bronoff, and the topic of the speech was vulnerability, which I think is a huge issue for me right now as I try to enter the comedy world, because you realize you're not. Is Byron gone? Oh wow.
See you, Byron.
Bye, Byron. But I realize as I get deeper into this comedy thing, it's not going to work unless I allow myself to be vulnerable, and that's really, really hard for me, and I think it's really hard for a lot of people. So she talks about that in her TED Talk, so I recommend it.
Make sure to tweet it out. Tweet out.
We'll do.
Cool.
Goodbye. I don't know why Byron was so dramatic about that. He must have gotten in trouble at work or something.
You tell the Irish goodbye. But let's aim for Sunday.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Grouping up on due date, but yeah, let's do it.
I know. Hopefully, I'll be podding from the hospital.
Yes. Totally.
All right. Later, guys. Have a great week.
I love you.
Peace out.
Right.